Okay, I hate to be the bringer of bad news again, but Dusty Hill, the bass player of the famous Texas trio rock band ZZ Top, has passed away at the age of 72 in his sleep in his home in Houston, Texas. ZZ Top was Billy Gibbons on your right, the famous guitarist, Frank Beard, the drummer, the only one without a beard, and Dusty Hill as the bass player. For three people, they sure made a lot of music. I recently did a video also about Neil Peart having passed away, of the rock trio from Canada, Rush. And this is something similar to that, I guess. Again, they sure could make a lot of music and some great sounds for three people. I thought I'd relay some of my memories of ZZ Top, and as I went through my life here, maybe as an homage to him, if I could. ZZ Top's been a part of my music scene since I matured. Round about 7th grade or so, I found them. My sisters and brother were listening to older music and so on, and I distinctly remember whenever the album Fandango came out and it was live, and they had on radio a playing of it live, and I had heard it and everybody was marveling on it, and that they had already had a couple of bands, and I found out about Tres Hombres and so on. And round about the album of Deguelo, I started maturing, having a car and all those things. Had some friends that were a year older than me and had gotten cars before then, and we were cruising around doing all kinds of things. And my sister also, I distinctly remember her sky blue Maverick that she had as a car with a 302 in it, a vinyl top, and an 8-track. And we had a ZZ Top 8-track in there, and we were always getting off on it. And I remember one time, all of us were packed in there with some beer, below age, headed out towards Lake Lavon during the summer. And during that famous part of the kick of the song where he tells you, a haw, 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 we of course cranked it up. But the second time he says it, we turned it off, and everybody went, a haw, haw, haw. And man, we just kicked it up and started laughing. That became a thing. And through high school, whenever that part would come on, quite often people would do that exact same thing. It must have happened 50 times. We used to go out to another lake near there and swim and all hang out, and I remember it happening over and over and over again. People wanted to tell you they got a lot of nice girls out there. They had a huge amount of hits. Well, Deguelo had quite a few hits on it itself, Full Fur Stockings and so on, but right after that they came out with Eliminator, and that's really whenever they hit hard, because MTV was hitting hard with all their music videos and so on. And they kicked it up another notch in ZZ Top world with their videos, which had that cool car that had been redone with their ZZ Top logo on it, and the hot chicks. She's Got Legs. Most people remember that song. One of my favorite ones always was Rough Boy. It's actually one that if you ever went to one of their concerts, it's a thing where it seems like everything slowed down from rock and roll, and now we're going to do one of those dances where you get back close together. In fact, it was played during my high school prom. I played it a few times in our band, or in a few different bands. We played it quite a few different times. I even, perhaps out there in my cassette, still have a recording of it somewhere, along with a lot of other songs that we did. And over the years, we must have done coming up on 10 different ZZ Top songs. Some of them became somewhat old standards. I have a memory of going to 3 different ZZ Top concerts within about a month and a half. They toured twice during Degüello, and we got to see them at the end part of that. But then right after that, Eliminator was kicking and coming out. And of course, they seemed to start and end in Texas. And so they just hung around through the holidays there, because this was coming into November and December and the New Year. And so I got to see them once, but then twice. And then we got to see them at New Year's at the Agora Ballroom. And so actually 3 times within inside of about a month and a half, if I remember correctly. Something tells me we saw them once after that, 3 or 4 months later, during Eliminator 2. So I may have it a little wrong, and it may have been 3 or 4, 5 months period I got to see them 3 times. Saw them twice more after that, once at the Starplex. They always put on a fantastic concert. Known for their flashy clothes like are seen here, but that was way back in Degüello's time, before their beards were even grown out. They're famous for together all of a sudden syncing up on stepping around on the stage and grooving with the rock song, and then stepping out with a jam, and then coming back together and stepping back in. Or that times where they'd have their guitars that are hooked to their belts and they would flip them around. They did that in concert too, and always got a big hoot. They had custom guitars made for it and so on. Quite the showman. Most people, if they haven't seen him, probably didn't realize that he actually sang on quite a few songs. Not really a backup singer, more of the hype. But his driving bass seemed to keep that churning along with Frank Beard's drumming that's there in the back, that's very iconic. I remember during that album he started using, during Eliminator album, they started using digital drums along with his drums, and he played along with a drum track, so it kept him quite in sync, but it was able to do things and kick off noises and all types of stuff, and he had drum pads next to him that when he hit them it would put off certain noises. And during one of those concerts, I think it was the Agora Ballroom, they actually had some lasers going on with it and everything, which was pretty neat. Smoke, or a fog machine that hugged below the ground and things like that. So it was pretty cool, something that you normally wouldn't expect with them, but hell, it was New Year's, there was balloons coming down, they were playing and kicking balloons around. It's a small place. I could have wadded up a paper and hit them. I was about the distance that you're seeing right now, which was pretty amazing after seeing them at some place like Reunion Arena, or if I remember correctly, the first time was at Tarrant County Convention Center, which used to be a place that we saw concerts at here in Dallas that's really no longer used for it very much. There have been other venues that have come and gone since then that are mainly used for big concerts. They toured just recently with Jeff Beck, and every once in a while I'm researching up and doing things, it'll show up in my sidebar a ZZ Top song, because I'd recently looked them up after looking up Eddie Van Halen. And so I'll click on one, and I must have watched Rough Boy or 10 different versions of it, along with 15 other songs, and I recently saw one where he went to Dave's house. Dave from, oh my God. Oh, what's his name? Anyhow, he went on his show, and it's just him really that comes in and plays. Quite often they'll have people that come in and play, but Daryl Hall and Oates, that's who it was, the Hall and Oates, in his house, and he'll go to Daryl's house, and they have a lot of people that done that. And after witnessing it with Joe Walsh and some of the other people that had went there, seeing it was ZZ Top, I had to watch that one too. He's been active a few times here recently where they didn't have Dusty in there, and from what I understand, Dusty had hurt his hip recently. but his passing away supposedly had nothing to do with it, and he passed away in his sleep, again at 72 years old. He's going to be missed by all rock and roll. I have a lot more little fleeting memories of ZZ Top, either listening to them in cars or places at different times, along with my memories of actually seeing them in concert before. And it saddens me again that I make another video about someone in great music history here that I grew up with that's passing away. It seems like that number just keeps growing and growing and getting faster and faster, but I guess as I reach elder age here too, it's something to be expected. But it's also something to be respected. Like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy if you haven't subscribed already, but let me know downstairs if you have any memories of ZZ Top from growing up, from recently, or just your thoughts. Peace.